Ever since he came to the Premier League in 2015, Klopp has been doing an impressive job at revitalizing one of the most prestigious clubs in England, the Liverpool Football Club. Prior to his arrival, Liverpool were mediocre for the most part, and it seemed like they were trailing behind other top teams in the Premier League more and more as time went on. But his tactics and passion for this game quickly made Liverpool one of the most exciting teams to watch in England. In this video, we'll take an in-depth look into tactics that arguably made Liverpool one of the top teams in the world. So let's take a look at their most recent game, Tottenham vs Liverpool, which took place a few days ago. Most of the analysis of this game is included after I'm done with Liverpool's tactical profile. I picked this match because I feel like Liverpool were on top of their game on this particular day, and Tottenham is the strongest team they've had to face so far this season. Keep in mind, this is an analysis of just this game, so I'm certain that Klopp will change a thing or two depending on who's he facing. To get a better understanding of Klopp's game plan, let's take a look at what Pochettino had in mind. Tottenham lined up as 4-3-1-2 with a diamond in midfield. I'm sure most of you are aware of this. Pochettino loves to use his fullbacks in attacks. There are a few reasons why that is so important to him, one of them being how his fullbacks and forwards engage with opposition's defenders. He likes to force the opposition all the way back, wanting them to go long and turn over possession. And so, Tottenham pressed high with Kane and Moura leading the charge with Eriksen in behind. That is all we need to know about Tottenham at this moment, but if you want more, feel free to check out my previous videos. With that being said, without further ado, let's get into Liverpool's tactical profile. Klopp's go-to formation is 4-3-3 with a deadly trio leading the charge. I'll go over how they play without the ball first, since that's the backbone of this team. Klopp likes to put the opposition under a lot of pressure, which makes it difficult to move the ball around with comfort. So whenever a team attempts to play from the back, instead of pressing the goalkeeper, Liverpool try to keep the ball in that area by taking up positions in opponent's half. They wait until the goalkeeper isn't involved anymore to start pressing again. Firmino's responsible for covering the middle, where the opponent's deep-lying midfielders drop, more often than not. But this means that he cannot go up when a centre back has the ball. And this is where Liverpool's wingers come into the play. They both are responsible for closing down the centre backs on their respective sides. Meanwhile, they're also tasked to take up positions, which cuts all passing lanes to opponents' fullbacks. The reason no one was really pressing there is because Liverpool had a pointer, usually Dembele, whom they did not cross, no matter if any other midfielder dropped deep or not. I'll go into more detail shortly. Liverpool cannot be too tight in opposition's half since they'll leave a lot of space allowing the opponent to advance into their half. So instead, they stay close just enough to be able to put pressure as a unit right as the pass is made. Notice how Milner starts pressing even before the pass is made. Let's say the pass was made. Dembele would then have Milner rushing at him from behind, while Firmino comes at him from the opposite side. Liverpool essentially forces the opposition to make very quick decisions, which greatly increases their chances to make a mistake and give the ball away in a dangerous area. This is done when the ball is far away from Liverpool's half. Now, let's get back to Liverpool using Dembele as a pointer. Liverpool were fine with a midfielder dropping deep to help in build-up, as they were more focused on how to effectively cover middle of the park. That's why the wingers stayed a bit inside, meanwhile focusing on closing the passing channels to the fullbacks. Notice the movement by Keita and Mane. Let's watch it again. That switch was crucial since Dembele would have had a lot of space to exploit if Mane pressed instead of Keita. Whenever Eriksen dropped deep, Liverpool had to switch up their top priority. And so, Firmino stayed near Eriksen, which freed up a Tottenham midfielder. Milner spotted this and rushed forward. Milner had to step up in these types of situations to not allow Tottenham to advance, even if it meant leaving a huge chunk of space open behind him. Basically, Liverpool's top priority isn't to eliminate the space in their own half, it's to keep the creative players from expressing themselves. The wide players are encouraged to come narrow if there's any space near the middle. This, along with everything I mentioned before, gave Tottenham a huge incentive to go wide since the fullbacks were not under that much pressure constantly. Both wingers' position allows them to press the opponent's attacking fullbacks at an angle, as another Liverpool player is usually nearby, keeping track of the advanced fullback. Liverpool highly restricted Tottenham's attacking prowess. This was the utmost priority for Klopp, as I mentioned before. As a result, this greatly isolated Tottenham's forwards as the ball was kept away from the final third for prolonged periods. That's pretty much how Liverpool play without the ball. However, when they get the ball back, they're a completely different type of team. You see, Liverpool's defensive structure allows them to press from two different sides, giving the opponent a tiny window to make a decision before he's surrounded, which eventually leads them to take more risk than usual. So, when they do win the ball back by being patient, they're able to switch from defending to attack in a matter of seconds. And this is where the deadly trio gets an opportunity to cause chaos. To make that possible in the first place, Klopp likes to have at least two players staying upfield, always prepared to take advantage. In this case, since Mane had to track back for Trippier every now and then, Salah and Firmino stayed up. Tottenham pushing both fullbacks forward at the same time made this a bit easier for Liverpool. That's when Liverpool are counter-attacking. When they get to build up from the back, Wijnaldum drops in the back line while the fullbacks make their way forward. If they're having trouble getting out of their own defensive third, the midfielders drop back to help while the fullbacks stay upfield but nearby. Because of this, Liverpool did not really have a difficult time when playing from the back against Tottenham. Gomez has many options to choose from. Basically, he wanted to have this shape when building up. Firmino usually plays as a false 9, as Klopp prefers Liverpool to be more free-flowing in the final third. Notice how his involvement gave Liverpool a man advantage, which they used to get upfield. In this game, the best way which got them upfield early on was targeting Tottenham's left side through Salah. And when he started dropping deep, Milner would make his way forward, which left Rose in a difficult spot as he couldn't cover all that space by himself. Liverpool usually start the game very strong and then slow down as time progresses. That's because of Klopp's demand of a high work rate from all of his players. So it's no wonder that Liverpool almost took the lead in the first minute of the game. But it was disallowed since Mane attempted to hit it while being in an offside position. The high work rate can very well end up hurting Liverpool as the game progresses. For example, if you guys remember Liverpool vs City from last season, you know that City were trailing by 4 goals, but were able to close down the margin to just 1 goal by making it 4-3 just before the game ended. And so, as the game progressed, Tottenham grew more confident in possession. They started to exploit the space afforded to them when Liverpool players were not staying tight enough. Although they were still heavily reliant on long balls to get upfield due to Liverpool's defensive cohesion. Notice how much space Rose is in, as the wide defender cannot leave his position with Moura nearby. As the first half was coming to an end, Tottenham started to have a bigger share of possession as Liverpool were not able to close down all the space like before. Instead of coming deep, Eriksen was now tasked to stay near the right half space. This forced Robertson to close down the space Eriksen had, leaving Trippier open in process. At first, Liverpool's high pressure was forcing Tottenham to go long almost every time. But later in the half, Tottenham had a lot more success when playing from the back. Even then they had to go long to get into the final third, since Liverpool were doing a good job in their half. As the first half was coming to an end, Liverpool were able to take the lead through a corner. Pochettino tasked Moura to stay on the left. He wanted to target Gomez as he made a few mistakes and did not look too convincing. He was able to do this by having Rose stay back while bringing a midfielder nearby. Liverpool's right back had to step up sooner or later to limit the space, leaving Gomez alone with Moura. Tottenham could easily have equalized through this tactic, not even 5 minutes into the second half. Liverpool continued to threaten Worm's goal on counterattacks. And just a few minutes later, they go on to extend the lead to 2 goals, giving them a nice cushion. Tottenham took more and more control of the possession as the game went on and kept trying to open the scoring. It took them until the injury time to get a goal back, but it was too late. I personally have immense respect for Klopp. This is what he had to say right after joining Liverpool.
A lot of clubs called and I said no chance. My wife knew if Liverpool is calling, I go. Yeah, and that's really difficult to explain. And yes, there was interest. I know my former manager said Manchester United. Yes, there were interest a year or 1.5 years before. Only didn't feel right.
Klopp specifically chose Liverpool and did not shy away from this challenge at all. In his first season, Klopp took Liverpool to 2 finals, Europa League and the League Cup. And last season, their exciting attacking football got them a place in the final of the UEFA Champions League. So I feel like it's safe to say that Liverpool will remain as one of the top teams to look out for, at least until Klopp stays. What are your thoughts about Klopp and this Liverpool team? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like what I do and would like to support the channel, check out the Patreon page or the card on the top right. I really appreciate the support. Thank you to Gary Bartlett, Alberto, Anthony, Tej Mullen, Hamilton Howard Nodine, Lucky Sengoku-san, Yitzhar Goretsky, and more for supporting this channel on Patreon. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All the links can be found in the description.